Yep, I will, man. I'll pull up that dial pad, and I will hit dial one more time. And I got my finger on the cancel button just in case the lady wants to give the phone number out. We don't want to do that. Then we have a bunch of people prank calling Drew. Pissed off at us.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello?
Good evening, Drew.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, not much, man. This is Big Perm with Uncensored MMA Online Radio. How the hell are
Hey,
you?
what's going on?
Just chilling, man. We're having a great time sitting here in the studio on a Monday night, talking to some great fighters, man. And now we got you on the line.
Hell yeah.
Well, listen, Drew. Before we get rolling, I wanted to bring in my co-host. I got sitting with me somebody you probably know, Dave the Butcher Clifford. Dave, are you there?
Yeah, what's up, man? It's great to be talking with you. I understand that you're fighting this weekend and starting to get active as a pro, and great to have you.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. I was like, I'll show you what. He hit me up. He goes, when are you going to have me on the show? And I said, you know what? How about tomorrow? So here we go.
So are you ready?
So what are you doing this week? Yeah, what are you doing this weekend, man? Why don't you tell us who you're fighting and where you're fighting and how people can watch it and where they can find it at?
I'm heading out to Washington, D.C. this weekend. I'm boxing out there. I'm boxing Jerry Odom. Jerry is actually the Olympic runner-up. So he's a pretty good boxer. Actually, obviously, got to be really good to be an Olympic runner-up. But I'm going out there to test myself and test my game.
Sweet. So is that predominantly what you're looking for these days is boxing? I mean, I know you're a Golden Gloves runner-up in 2007. You got a very impressive MMA record. But now that you've how many pro boxing fights have you had now?
This will be my third one.
So your third one, you're going out to D.C. and you're
Yes,
going to be
sir.
fighting one of the toughest guys out there. But I mean, what tell us about your last boxing match.
My last boxing match was 2 weeks ago. It was I fought Desmond Jackson in Toledo, Ohio, and I beat him unanimous decision. And Desmond was a 6-time Golden Glove champion.
Wow, so I mean, you know, that guy's no slouch, man.
No, definitely. It was a tough fight, man, but I put it on him a little bit.
Well, you know, Drew, you know, you've got an MMA background which covers, you know, all martial arts, you know, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, all of that. I mean, now you're doing some boxing matches, you know, with another one coming up in Washington, D.C. Any thoughts of, you know, or have you ever competed in any grappling tournaments? You ever done any of that kind of work?
Yeah. Actually, back in November, I competed in the Michigan State Championship for jiu-jitsu.
And how'd you place in that thing?
I took second in my weight class and then second in the absolute division.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking right, man. So, I mean, are you doing this? Are you doing these tournaments, you know, and boxing matches? I mean, is this all just to try and improve, obviously, your overall MMA game?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any experience is going to make me better no matter what. So, yeah, I just fucking do it just for fun. I like to fight and I like to compete, you know.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, and you've been doing this since the Matt Flynn days. I mean, I was looking at your.
Oh, yeah, I started out with. Yeah, I started out with Matt Flynn back in.
Around. I mean, no, I don't have any disrespect towards the XCC or any of that shit, man. I don't care what anybody says, man. Those were the best fights around at the time, and you were competing against the toughest from the beginning, bro.
Yeah, Matt. Matt. Oh, it was great, man. Matt paved the way. Matt, like, you know, I mean, people can say what they want about him, but you know, Matt's a good dude, you know. But he paved the way for, you know, Michigan martial arts, I believe, you know, and you know, he made it to where we, you know, what we can do now. That's my opinion, but I mean, I have nothing but respect for Matt Flynn, you know.
Yeah, it's not bad to say. He always treated me real nice, honestly. But so you've been doing it since the beginning of Michigan for the most part. I mean, there were a few fights around before that, but none of them were close to that. I mean, really, at the beginning of the big surge of popularity, that's where the fights were, and that's where you were. And now,
I've been competing a long time.
Back. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's a pleasure to be talking with you, man. I mean, you're really getting to the point where you're almost old school when it comes to this as far as
I'm getting old, man. I've been telling fighters come in the gym these days. I tell them, like, man, I've been fucking doing this shit for way longer than you can even imagine.
Now, your professional fight, the one that I found anyway, I don't know how correct this fucking things are. Half the time there's 20 different shits on all the different fucking sites. But you fought at KOTC, the homecoming, recently, and went and got a win against a pretty tough opponent there. Any future fights coming with Terry?
I haven't spoke to Terry in a while, but yeah, I fought up at the Silver Eagle Casino. I beat Hector Garcia, and Hector was tough as shit, man. That was one motherfucker I just could not put away. But what was I say? Yeah, I'm talking right now August for Purgatory Fight Series. They're mostly based out of Ohio.
Absolutely. I think one of our sponsors, Intimidation, is affiliated with Purgatory.
Yeah. They were sponsored that boxing event I was at.
Sweet. Luke.
Oh, nice.
That's our boy.
Yeah, Luke Jernigan. So,
now,
Drew, I just wanted to...
Go ahead, man.
I just wanted to jump in there, and just ask probably one question that you were going to ask later, Dave. With the legislation and all the talk about that in Michigan MMA right now, as we talk to the different fighters, in Michigan, just want to get your insight and your input. No? Well, I'll ask it.
Go ahead.
What's your thoughts and your insight on current MMA legislation there in Michigan?
It needs to fucking happen. Obviously you got people. I know people dying and stuff, but it happens. Like that guy had that heart attack, but that shit can happen anywhere. And of course, they look at us because we've had so many incidents happen. But I think to clear everything up and get all these bullshit little fucking shows out of the way, we need to get this shit regulated, and therefore all the small dogs will be out and have a lot bigger shows and get more respect, because Michigan deserves respect. That we deserve it. We got great fighters. We got Darren Cruikshank, Burns, all these good pro fighters, and everybody hates on us because of what all this dumb shit that happened.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's definitely something that needs to happen. If nothing for the safety of the fighters.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Most the bigger shows do a pretty good job. Most of the shows I fought at, were always medical staff. Always top notch. I wouldn't fight for somebody that wouldn't be for my best interest. I don't want to take a chance. I got kids. And I got a family to feed. I can't take a chance of getting hurt and not be covered insurance.
Absolutely, for sure.
Well, now, speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about what you do outside the cage and outside of the ring. And tell us about what you do. Do you do anything for a living that's not fight related? What do you do at home?
I work. No, I live in Southgate, Michigan, which is right outside Detroit. I'm from Monroe originally, and then I moved out here.
Yeah.
But I work midnights at Home Depot, and then I get off work and go clean pools. I'm a pool boy.
Hell yeah.
Did you say you had a wife and stuff already?
No, I don't got a wife, but I got an old lady.
Okay, I won't ask you about what it's like being a pool boy then.
No, it's really, that's funny. I was talking about that the other day at work, and I was like, it's not what everybody thinks it is. I'm like, most of these people are just some old bitches and old people. I'm like, this is fucking, it's not what everybody makes it out to be.
It's not the bad porn plot that we think it is.
No, it's not. It's not what you guys think it is. Not no sexy girls in bikinis and stuff. And nope, I've been doing this for about 5 years. I'm not once seen that.
Oh man. Well, you wouldn't be able to tell us if you did. So we'll move on.
Nope. No. Next question, please.
Yeah. So how do you fit in the time to be competing at these levels? How do you keep your skills sharp? Who helps you out with that? And kind of shout out time. Tell us about the gyms you work out at and the people who've contributed to your abilities.
I train at Courageous MMA out of Taylor. I do my boxing out of Joe's Boxing Club under Todd Riggs and Tony Colino, and I train with like Bronco McCart, former world champion, and
Sweet.
I do no. Huh?
Sweet.
I'm sorry.
I like Bronco McCart, man.
He's a good dude, man. He's still an animal at 40 years old, man. He still beats my ass.
Sweet.
And then I train with Darren Cruikshank and all the DC prodigies, and then a little bit with I haven't trained him in a long time, but Jake Short back in the day. So.
Oh, yep. All a pretty good pedigree right there. I mean, Cruikshank, former guest of the show, and actually our next guest is Chris Tickle, and we had Cruikshank and Tickle on at the same time one time in the past, the show I did, and that was pretty entertaining. So, he's definitely in good hands. And it's got to be fun at the gym. I mean, all the people you were naming off, they got real good senses of humor, and it really balances the hard work that you guys put in, because you do perform, and you perform at the top level.
You got to have fun. If you're not having fun, why the fuck are you doing it? And Darren's a great time. He's something else, that's for sure. The whole DC prodigies, they're their own breed for sure.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that. Elaborate a little bit. How involved are you with that? How much? Do you help out with classes in the time, or are you just basically only a student at this time? What's it like for you at the gym?
I teach Monday nights. I teach from like 7 to 9. Teach mainly like grappling, like wrestling. I'm mainly a wrestling base. Actually, I've been wrestling since I was 4 years old, and I just teach mainly takedowns and just MMA grappling more or less. And other than that, the rest of the time I'm just training. And I work out with Darren. Darren comes in on Thursdays. Darren teaches at our gym on Thursday nights.
Okay, I've seen that a lot. You guys are very good at publicizing what you're doing and doing a good job of keeping your names out there and showing the public what you guys are doing. Speaking of wrestling, I mean, I know that you used to help out where you went to school in Monroe. Are you still helping out with the wrestling program at any high schools? Yeah,
I coach at Monroe High School right now.
Okay, are you the head coach now?
No, I'm assistant coach.
Okay. Sweet.
Nope.
So that's got to be pretty cool. Do you see any prodigies coming up?
Oh yeah, man. I got some tough little ones. Couple of my seniors this past year want to get into MMA, and they're hard workers. So I think they're capable of doing it, but they got to realize it's a whole different story getting punched in the face.
Sure, I know. It ain't no fun getting punched in the face, especially if you're a wrestler. A lot of times, that's early on, but you get that out of your system, and you notice at the top levels, the best grapplers hold championships.
Oh yeah, you got to have good striking. That's why I work the boxing. Like I said, I'm mainly a wrestler, a grappler, but I do the boxing. Because one's got to complement the other. So if I got good hands, then now you got to worry about my hands, and then you got to worry about my takedowns. So it makes me a whole different, complete fighter.
Now, as a wrestler, I know that a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, and I'm sure you do so much cross-training, it's almost odd to ask this anymore. But being a wrestling base, and wrestling and boxing are, two of America's martial arts, if there ever were any. For everybody that's grown up in the Midwest, at least, those are the two things that you can do. There's usually a weird little karate school, but where I live, there was always two people teaching it. So you'd have to stay away from them. Parents didn't trust them.
The kind of guys that drove the vans, right?
Yeah, man. You just don't. When you see a big ass van parked out there, it's like, hey, man, do you live in that fucking thing, dude? You know karate? What the fuck, man? I had to leave. My parents were pissed. They spent money on a little outfit. I was like, dude, that guy's a toucher. I don't want to come here. Anyhow, but I would never shed light on that. But to be honest, the only two things that you could go do would be to wrestle, and there was off-season wrestling for guys. There was also high school wrestling, and there were boxing clubs, and that was about it. And there was, like I said, a couple of decent martial arts academies strewn about the north, but you'd have to really travel. So what? And this is one thing I like to ask wrestlers, like getting back to my question, is how much do you work takedown defense? Because, I know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys are very intent on trying to stop takedowns and turn them into throws. How much of that do you work being a wrestler? I mean, or does it come natural?
Just my takedown defense?
Yes.
I work my takedown. I mean, you got to work it, but I shoot a lot. I'm more offensive than defensive. I feel that the more I'm in on your legs, the less I'm in on mine. I don't like to be taken down. I don't like being on my back. I'm just like a wrestler. I don't like being on my back. I have no problem being there, but I don't like it. And I work a lot getting off my back to my feet. Because I'm comfortable on my feet. I don't mind standing and banging, trading some punches at all.
Well, obviously, you're turning into a heck of a boxer, man. You're really going out there and challenging yourself, just like any martial artist would do. And I really admire that.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's not a point. There's no point in competing if you're not trying to challenge yourself.
Yeah, I've noticed that about certain. There's a couple of different ways that people try to make a living off of this, and there's plenty of promotions out there that will give fighters the contests that they ask for, and sometimes that is part of the thing. Coming off of injuries is one thing, or some rust or a layoff. I can understand people taking kinder, gentler fights at times. But when you see people that don't challenge themselves and then they want to boast about their accomplishments, it really takes away. And I think that feeds right into what you were saying about people talking shit about Michigan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you got to think, I had fights that weren't even I had 28 amateur fights, and I think I'm only posting 16 of them on MMA.tv.
Yeah, something like that.
There's fights that never got posted, and that's the bullshit I'm talking about. Like, promoters should take the time.
I know a couple of them. I've said your name before.
Oh, yeah, up in Traverse City. For KG Wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a cold-ass drive. I drove up there with no damn heat in my car.
Oh, shit.
In the middle of the winter, too.
Cool. That ain't even cool in June, brother.
Drew, I wanted to jump in and ask you a quick question, Drew. As far as a lot of the local guys and people around the local scene where you're at, do you see a lot of these fighters, trying to be more just like local celebrities because they're fighting at the local show, or
yes, he does.
are the majority of them just trying to really trying to advance their career from where it's at right now?
I think a lot of these younger guys, they do it just for to say they do it. Like they're cage fighters. They're not mixed martial artists. They're weekend warriors. They do it just for the fame, which is cool and all, but they just do it for the girls. And those are the guys you hear loudmouth at the bar saying, "I'm a fucking cage fighter." I don't give a fuck what you are, motherfucker. I'm a mixed martial artist. If yeah, with a tight ass tap out shirt or something, or Footson shirt. It just pisses me off. People act like that. It's like,
hold up.
Hey, I'm just saying. I like tap out too. I wear it, but I'm not the one at the bar saying I'm a fucking cage fighter trying to fight everybody.
You're allowed. It's funny when I wear it, I let people know I'm a fan and I'm affiliated. I'm not a fighter. I'm not training. Don't ask me. Don't chest up. Leave me alone. Touch me and I'll sue. But other than when I see people wearing it, it's funny when you see fans that as soon as they put that on, it turns them into something. It's like, you got some knowledge, you've watched a lot of shit, but listen, man, can't do that. You can't put your cigarette down and get in there.
Oh, those are my favorite, going to MMA shows and seeing guys who are on the card outside smoking a cigarette. I'm like, aren't you about to fight in like a half hour? Yeah, with the hand tape. Like, man, come on.
Smoking. Don't take me so tight. I got to get a smoke in there.
Yeah, I laugh about those ones.
Well, Drew, that question was actually a fan question from Jason, who's listening in Gary, Indiana. And I had one other fan question for you that came in. Let's see. Guy by the name of Serge, I think that's how you say it, from Ontario, Canada. He asks, who was your toughest opponent you faced so far, and is there anybody you'd like a rematch with?
Well, if he's from Ontario, I already know who he's talking about. He's talking about Adam Mosenza. And Adam Mosenza is who I want to rematch against. Me and him, we were 1-1 as amateurs. And, we're friends, but I feel we do have unfinished business. And it has, he by far was my toughest opponent I ever had. And I'm not just saying that because, that guy, I guarantee that's who he's talking, he wants to know about, is Adam Mosenza. And he's a Canadian from Ontario, and that dude ain't no joke. He's up there tearing up the pro levels right now.
Yeah, I believe it. There's a solid bunch of programs over there in Ontario. I've been working close to the border up in Sault Ste. Marie quite a bit lately, and there's a great influx of talent. And there's a lot of buildings over there that are ready to put some people in them.
Oh yeah, those Canadians, man, they're always well rounded. Always come to fight. Every time you fight a Canadian, you gotta know you're definitely gonna have a fight on your hands.
They punch hard and they wrestle well.
And they drink beer very good too. They can drink beer, that's for sure.
I had some incidences at the casino when I worked for Jeff. luckily I was cool. Nobody got mad at me, but I you know, sorry, Charlie Murphy. I was having too much fun.
You can never have too much fun, man.
Oh goodness, where is this at? I was looking for this right here. Bingo, there we go.
Oh man, shit. All right, well,
sorry, but we're running up against the time clock, man.
All right,
man.
All right, bro. It's my turn, Perm. All right, before we get that's the boxing bell. Since we got like 2 minutes left, I got a fun question for you, and then I'll turn it over to Perm so you can tell everybody how to get a hold of you and where to watch you fight and stuff like that. If there was tag team MMA and you fought XCC, you could probably fathom this. Who would you pick as a partner, and who would you guys want to face?
I pick my brother as my partner because you know we've been fighting side by side for years. You know, and, yeah, Rick, my brother, and if you ever seen my brother fight, you know he throws some leather. So I mean, that'd be a good partner to have. And then for tag team, go guys. I'm not all about calling people out, but I don't know, man. Who would you guys want me to see us go against?
All right, what are both the weight classes you and your brother are going to fight at?
Huh?
What weight classes are you guys going to both be at for this? Tell me.
150, 155.
Both at 55?
Mm-hmm.
How about Clay Guida and BJ Penn?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. That'd be a great one. Yeah, fantasy cage.
Huh? What do you think about that shit?
I like that matchup. I would love that payday even more.
I got my money on you all day.
I appreciate it, man.
All day, Morais. Well, listen, Drew, we've just got, with this last minute or so we got left with you, man, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to shout out any sponsors and tell all our listeners how they can stay in touch and follow along.
Absolutely. Big shout out to my sponsors, Defiant, Anthony the Baron down there takes care of their, his fighters real well. Shout out to my gym, Courageous MMA. Shout out to DC Prodigies, always helping me out. And you can find me on Facebook, or you can find me at Twitter at allday155.
All day 155, baby. Well, Drew, listen, man, best of luck with your fight coming up in D.C., man. And for me, my co-host Dave, and my producer Chris Maltsburger, we just want to say thanks to you, man, for taking the time to join the show tonight. And again, we wish you best of luck in D.C., man.
Cool, bro. I really appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, you're quite welcome, man. You take it easy and have a great night, sir.
All right, later, man.
Later.
Later.